Howdy, folks. So I think that I'm able to make the case that the school district is not being honest about the content that is in the school library, and that they may be intentionally trying to obscure the truth to me and to the rest of the community. What you're looking at here is an incident report that was written by School Resource Officer Johnny Palmer. And you can see that I went into the school and met with him on the 31st of March of this year. And I'm not going to go through and read all of this, but Mr. Palmer left some very important parts out of this report. He omitted them entirely. You will see that there is no report, no mention of the book, How Beautiful the Ordinary. Fortunately for me, I once again violated their policy and I recorded my conversation inside of the building. And I can prove that I reported that. And in that conversation that's 28 minutes approximately long, I mentioned that book by name 4 times. I'm going to play that audio and let you hear for yourself. I'll come back to the screen after I've got it going and I'll let you read this more. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I have some more paperwork to drop off, and I would like to see Mr. Palmer if I can to file a criminal complaint.
Okay, I can see if he's available.
Thank you. And I believe that content in some of those books is in violation of the Missouri statute on providing pornographic material to minors.
Okay.
And I got to looking, and there is one book in particular, and that's okay. I just slapped a list on the counter for Mr. Palmer, and I'm sliding it to him, and it has the name of that book on it. I just gave him a copy of it. It's now almost in his hand, and he asked me during the recording if he can keep it. Of course, I let him keep it. Let me go back to play.
For the ordinary.
Yes, sir. It has images in it that include okay. Do you hear that? He is spelling out the title of the book as he writes that title down. That title is not mentioned in his police report at all. That title of that book was the whole reason that I went in to see Mr. Palmer on the 31st of March. That book was the entire basis of my complaint, is that it has pictures that violate 573-550. He doesn't mention it in the report. Reproductive organs. And that's just the list of the books that we've already submitted. And that one in particular is the one that has images, which I believe it violates. It's like 570.550 that prohibits pictures of sexual organs.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Now, let's fast forward about 3 weeks later to the Board of Education meeting.
Sexual intercourse, direct physical stimulation of genitals, sadomasochistic abuse, or emphasizing the depiction of post-pubertal human genitals, provided, however, that works of art are taken as a whole that have serious artistic significance. And based on that definition, my question is, Dr. Robinson, do we have any books with visually explicit materials in our libraries?
3 weeks after my report to Palmer, it is the opinion of Matt Robinson that there are no books in the Cameron High School library that have pictures that violate Missouri law. All right, now we're going to fast forward to August. Mr. Palmer completed this report in August, and that is when we eventually got this report. We noticed that that book was missing in it, so Dan Landy addressed them at the August 15th, I think, Board of Education meeting and brought up that that book, it's not in this report.
Number 2, Officer Palmer, okay? He made a police report at my request. I contacted him in March because I wanted to accuse the school board of providing pornographic material to minors. Anyway, he opened an investigation, looked into it, said that there's nothing there, and I know that because I've got a copy of the report. He didn't mention in his report a book called How Beautiful the Ordinary. Now that book is a graphic novel. It depicts gay sex, two boys going on each other, right? It's very graphic, nudity, drawings, folks. This isn't just words, these are drawings. That is in direct violation of statute 573-550. Now Officer Palmer failed to mention this book in his book review. Now that book is in your library right now because I checked online on your website. It's in your library and it's on your review list. It's halfway down your list to review, so you won't get there until next year. But that book is in the library, and that is a violation of the law. Now, Officer Palmer, I contend, didn't do a thorough investigation. Okay, but he's your guy. You hired him. You put him to work. So that's for you all to deal with.
A couple of days after the Board of Education meeting, and before the students were back in school, we looked, and the book How Ordinary the Beautiful was no longer in the school district. Well, it's there, but it was checked out. So we submitted a sunshine law request to find out how many times it had been checked out in the 22 to 23 year. That's when the law against pornography went into effect. It wasn't checked out then during the school year, but it was checked out currently. And I asked about it. I worded my request improperly. They responded as they should. And when I said that can't be right because it shows that it's currently checked out, Matt Robinson replied to me instead of Miss Walker, and he said, "Mr. Gilbert, you're correct. The book does look like it is checked out of our system because it is. I checked the book out last week." Matt Robinson checked that book out of the library after Dan brought it to his attention that it violated the law and that Mr. Johnny Palmer, the school resource officer who reports directly to Matt, omitted it from his police report. And that kind of struck me as odd. Why would he admit to that? Because under this policy IIAC, library records are confidential. They're not supposed to release that information to me about who has checked out a library book unless it is my own child. Why is he violating policy to admit that it's not checked out? It's a good question because they don't want anybody to believe that a student has checked out the book. Because if a student had it, they would be in violation of the law. So he's it appears to be willing to cop to a violation of school district policy to make sure that I know that they haven't put it in the hands of a student. Now, for those of you who are paying attention, I have a couple of questions. Why did Johnny Palmer, who works directly for Matt Robinson, omit the most important part of the complaint that we filed at the school district? Why was it not there? After it was made aware that Johnny Palmer omitted that from his report, was he instructed to go back and conduct the investigation again? Let's assume he missed it. He has new information. Is Mr. Palmer conducting another investigation? Or has the school district contacted the sheriff's department because there's a conflict of interest, potentially, in Johnny Palmer conducting an investigation into whether he intentionally omitted information from his report? Are they going to do anything with this? Are they going to report to the prosecutor that sorry, we were wrong. We do indeed have a book that may violate the law. Who's looking into this? Or is this too going to be swept under the rug? I don't have much confidence that they'll do the right thing, folks.